Describe your most challenging project is a question that people will ask to understand what's the highest level of complexity that you can handle in terms of a project. And the first thing you need to understand about this question is that it's not about the workload. Yes, workload matters. And if there's ways that you could definitely streamline everything and shorten it and just cut it up into pieces and distribute and delegate, sure, that's a part of it. But that's not the only part. And what people want to understand is how you dealt with complex problems, how you removed obstacles, and what were the stakes involved. These are the things that would help people understand, where is this person at? Like, how should we level this person? Because ultimately, in most hiring situations, people want to get an understanding of, is this person entry level? Is this person junior, mid-level, senior? Like, what's the level? And this is not only for IC roles, this is also for management roles, right? How big was the team? How complex was the team? How complex were the stakeholder conversations? What was at stake in terms of these conversations? So these are all things that people want to evaluate so that they get an understanding of, is this current role that they're interviewing for appropriate for this candidate? So the first thing you got to understand is it's not just pure workload. There's complexity, there's obstacles, and then there's stakes involved. Whatever example you're giving needs to demonstrate the skills and the experiences that are relevant to the role you're applying for. The second thing you need to do is to structure it with a STAR answer. Now, I've talked about the STAR answer in the past: situation, task, action, result. I'm not going to dive into it too deep here, but one thing you need to do is always make sure you have one or two examples that you can pull out on an instant, where you can basically give people an example of a complex project or a challenging project that you've overcome before. That's done in the prep phase of the interview. You are most likely going to be asked about a challenging project that you've done at one point in time or another. And so you always want to have something prepared in this story jukebox of yours where you can pull out this example and give it to them so that it's relevant to the role and that it's going to help your case in securing this role. The third thing that you want to do is, in this example, make sure you really highlight your problem solving and critical thinking skills. And what that means is, how did you break down the situation? How did you break down the complexity? How did you identify the key challenges? What are the main obstacles? How did you remove these obstacles? How did you communicate with others, right? And sometimes it's a stakeholder situation. So what you really want to convey is how complex this issue was and how your problem solving and critical thinking skills helped you overcome it. And some of these things might be coming from organization skills. And because you have organization skills and delegating skills, you are able to problem solve for this issue. And when it comes to the problem solving, you want to focus on what were some of the innovative solutions that you've applied, what are some of the strategies you use, what are some of the tools that you use, just something that gives your example more meat when it comes to problem solving. And then you also want to show adaptability so that it's not just purely planning things out. There's always something that would go sideways during the planning process. And oftentimes the best laid plans need to be pivoting and adjusting accordingly. So you also want to be showing some adaptability skills as well. Now, the fourth thing you really need to convey is teamwork and leadership skills. And for this example, if you led a team, make sure you highlight how you delegated, how you kept everyone motivated, how you divvied up the task, how you followed up, how you kept everyone in the loop. Leading people is a complex task upon itself. And therefore, that's why you really want to highlight, for a challenging project, if you led a team, you really want to show that you have that communication piece down. And if conflict situations came up, then you also want to highlight how you dealt with conflict resolutions and created alignment within your team or with the stakeholders as well. The fifth and last thing you need to do is to reflect on this experience and how it's prepared you for this role that you are interviewing for. Because at the end of the day, this whole experience is to set you up for success. What you really want to show is, in the past, I've dealt with these problems, and in this new role, I can also deal with these problems and excel. And therefore, you want to show what are the key learnings that you learned and how these new things can apply to you and your contributions to this role. Therefore, you need to relate all the challenges that you talked about back to the job requirements. Like I said at the beginning of this video, it's really about knowing what this role is asking for. And at the end, you tie that knot and you lead it back to the beginning as like, hey, this is why I'm applying for this role, because I am qualified for it. And you really want to highlight what you've done in the past really shows potential value to the employer so that they're like, yeah, I want this person because this person solved these problems in the past before. And that's it. That's how you answer and describe your most challenging project. I hope this video was helpful to you. If you liked it, please give it a like, share, subscribe, follow wherever you are. And if you have any thoughts on what I said, please let me know in the comments below. Take care, everyone.